Hey, how's it going? This is Liverbolt76, I'm Chad, and today we're going to talk about the Savage 22 High Power. Did they really kill elephants with that thing? Alright, let's get after it. So the 22 High Power, nicknamed the Imp by Savage, was introduced in 1912 for the model 1899H featherweight takedown rifle. And it was only this rifle that it was made for, the first few years of production. Now this little cartridge was developed by Charles Newton by necking down a 25-35 Winchester to .228 caliber. With a 70 grain bullet, it was achieving speeds as high as 2,800 feet per second. And this is in 1912 that they were getting this, which made it one of the fastest cartridges on the market for that time. So in my opinion, this little 22 High Power is Savage's most storied cartridge. Due to its high speed, it almost obtained a magical killing power as far as the public was concerned and gun riders of the day. This thing was said to have done miraculous feats, most of which probably weren't true. WMD, or as he's better known, Karamojo Bell, wrote at one time that he witnessed a hunter take 23 West African buffalo with 27 shots from a 22 High Power. They were all lung shots, and 23 buffalo down from this. And keep in mind they're West African buffalo, not the big ones, the Cape buffalo. But he also noted that they pretty much died a slow, agonizing death while they very slowly bled out from the little 22 caliber bullet. But nonetheless, 23 West African buffalo out of 27 shots, which is quite a feat. And then you have another story of Reverend H.R. Caldwell killing a 400-pound tiger in China with one of these little guns. They grew quite popular in the UK after Red Stag in Scotland. They had quite a following there. But as far as I can tell, nobody killed an elephant with one of these guns. And I've heard that story since I was a kid, that there were elephants killed with this little 22 High Power, and I could not find any information to confirm that. So if somebody else happens to have a valid information on that, I would like to see that. But so at any rate, this little gun carried quite the reputation to be able to kill anything on earth, which Savage used to its great advantage in its advertising. They just blew it up with their ads. One of their ads ran the story of Reverend Caldwell killing the tiger. They had a picture of it. It was proof positive that it can in fact do that. So, as this cartridge remained popular through the 1940s, it was found that it seemed to be wounding more animals than it killed, and eventually leading to most, if not all, of the western states banning all bullets 23 caliber and smaller. So, like as many of you know, the .243 is okay, the .223 is not. And I don't know if it was all the 22 High Power's fault, but I'm sure it carries a lot of the blame on its shoulders. And then, on top of that, you had a few years later, after the release of the 22 High Power, Savage itself came out with the .253,000, and just like the 300 Savage did to the .303 Savage, the .253,000 played a big part in getting rid of the 22 High Power, as well as the .222 Remington and the .220 Swift in the 22 calibers. So really after the 1950s, this little cartridge just seems to disappear. Nobody, including Savage, chambers rifles for it anymore. Everybody stopped making ammunition for it, except in Europe. It maintained a pretty good following to this day, and rather than the 22 high power, it is known as the 5.6 by 5.2R. And it's the same exact case, and they seem to enjoy it over there on small game and maybe things like small deer and little single shot rifles, but it still does pretty well over there, and you can still find ammunition for this if you do happen to have a rifle. I found this on Gunbroker, so it is out there. It does exist, but it's just not known as 22 high power anymore. So that's about all I have to say about the cartridge. Let's talk a little bit about the gun, chambered in 22 high power. This rifle right here is a model 1899H featherweight takedown, and this specific gun was manufactured in 1912, first year of production of the 22 high power. So this is a first year rifle. It was only, you could only get the 22 high power in this rifle, the 1899H Takedown featherweight, 22-inch barrel. That was the only rifle you could get it in. Now, the last video I did on the 303 Savage, it was also an H model, but we have to make the designation here. Being manufactured in 1912, this is a model 1899H, whereas the 303 in the last video was a model 99H. Early in the 1920s, Savage switched over from the model 1899s to the model 99s, and then the model 99s carried through until the end of production. So if we take a look at this rifle, it's in pretty good shape for the most part. The action works good, just like every Savage. It is super slick. 22-inch barrel. It has this little brazed in front sight, and rather than use a pin, if you can see this, they used a screw to hold the sight in, which kind of a unique thing they did there. You've got the micro adjust rear sight for windage and elevation. This particular rifle is not drilled and tapped, so that's correct. You've got a plastic butt plate, which is correct. It does have a little bit of a crack, the old tang cracks that a lot of the Savages have. Also, as many of the Savages have, you have the lever safety and the case hardened lever. And just to be clear, this is not loaded. I never handle a loaded rifle unless we're at the range. So there's nothing in there. But everything on this rifle is correct. Okay, well, this being a takedown model, I'll go ahead and show you that aspect of it. So the takedown feature is pretty nice with these old Savage rifles, and the idea behind it is you could break this thing down if you're going on a trip, put it in your luggage. Maybe you're going down to Africa to shoot elephants and you need to make this thing a little bit smaller to shoot on, or to fit on the plane. So that was the idea behind it, but one of the neat little things that Savage did there, in a lot of cases, you could buy a package with the, say for example, a 22 high power rifle barrel and also get a 410 shotgun barrel. So if you wanted to shoot coyotes or foxes or whatever to keep the chickens safe, you could have the 22 high power barrel on, and then if you decide you want to go dove hunting, you can take that off and throw the 410 barrel on. So I'll go ahead and show you how that works. The first thing we need to do is obviously make sure that your gun is unloaded, and then open the lever. Obviously we have an empty chamber there. There's a little lever on the forearm. You pull that back, towards the action. That comes off. And then there's this little mounting lug that it connects to. And as you can see, there's a square hole in the forend. You can put that square hole in the forend. Every one of these barrels has a little arrow that says off, and if you twist it in that direction, it will come right off. And this being one of the early models, it has half of its threads missing, so it's a quarter turn to take the barrel off, which is pretty nice. The later ones all had full threads, which I have one, a 250-3000 made in 1926, that has the full threads, and you have to twist the barrel completely off. But at any rate, that's how the takedown works. Pretty simple. Takes all of about 5 seconds to remove the barrel and the forend. Your gun's half as big as it was before. So, I think we'll go ahead and shoot this thing. Okay, we're at the range. We'll get this thing loaded up and ready to go. Launch a few out there. So as you can see, everything still works really good for being a over 100-year-old rifle. These cartridges feed in there just as smooth as can be. Get our ears in and our eyes on. Touch a few of them off. As you can see, it doesn't have a lot of kick to it. Just that little 22 high power coming out of there. It's a lot like shooting a 22 250, I think. All right, well, that'll do it for today.